Measure N, the vacancy tax, is a special tax. So it can only be spent on housing, roads, transit, and implementation. And that's really important to know. I know there's been some confusion on whether or not it is a general tax. It is not. It is a special tax. The funding can only be spent on these things.
And so the city actually recently published a report with an impartial analysis of the fiscal impacts of the tax. And they did an estimate of how they could implement the tax. And of course, there's staff required for doing that. All of this costs money. But they actually estimated that this will cost less than 3% of the $20 million that they estimate will bring in every single year. Even those first initial startup costs are less than 0.5% of the city's budget, and then can be paid back by that annual $20 million in dedicated funding that comes through every year after that.
All right, and so here we have a pie chart, and these are based on the city's impartial analysis on their numbers of what they projected this policy would do. So they're estimating that the tax revenue from those who elect to keep their properties empty would generate $20 million per year for housing, roads, and transit. Some of them would be ineligible or exempt, so we're accounting for that. It's a conservative number. And then the additional piece of that is for those who are not looking to pay the tax and might shift how they're using it. So maybe it's folks just using their own properties more often. We'd love to have more people here participating in the economy on a local basis. People can just, hopefully spend more time here in the community. I know it's a big part of people's hearts. What the city is estimating the policy would do is actually recover 1,543 households. And I use the word recover because we talked about that population loss since 2000. So this is actually bringing back that lost population so that they can be here on a regular basis.
And the big thing when you bring back lost population is those local residents spend money in the local economy. And so in addition to the revenue that the vacancy tax brings in for dedicated to housing, roads, and transit, those local residents are estimated to spend $27 million in the local economy. And the city estimated this based on an average $18,000 in spending per household, which is consistent with averages across the nation, and really roughly corresponds to about $500 per month for locals to be spending in the local economy.
Awesome. And then in addition to just the increase in revenue for local businesses, there's also sales tax generated from that goes back into the city budget. So not even looking at the revenue from the actual vacancy tax, but just the revenue from the added sales tax on business transactions. The city is estimating, and that would boost the general fund by $600,000 per year. And those funds can be used for fire prevention, public safety, parks and rec, and other essential services for a vibrant community. And that doesn't even include any reflection of the numbers of business growth from having more housing to attract and hire more full-time employees, which we talked about earlier in the report, how that's been hindering business growth.